I can't see myself buying it again.
I don't think it's not definitely not my favorite of the three.
No, my eyes are still watering, and I'm still not liking it. And if that's my bottle.
Yeah, I thought you were crying because Dave wasn't here.
Oh, yeah, poor Dave.
Yeah.
So I brought the Ezra Brooks out of this. If that C is Ezra Brooks,
it stays.
It's either staying here or going in your grass skirt. So.
Well, yeah, you might as well put in all the dead shit in my front yard right now.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Bourbon Boys, the podcast where guys get together to talk about, well, bourbon and then the 4 P's of life. That is the personal, professional, parenting, and family with a PH.
Family with a PH, I love it.
And everything that comes along with being a dad. Well, we aren't bourbon snobs. We know that. We're just a group of guys who like bourbon for what it is and how it tastes. It's kind of pretty simple. This is podcast 6. I'm Derek, your host, and with me are my bourbon buddies, Alton, Kurt, and in spirit, Krat. Krat couldn't be here today. But
what kind of spirit is that?
It's distilled spirit.
All right.
It's an acquired taste.
It is an acquired taste. You said it, not me.
But David will join us in the next episode. But tonight, we figured we'd try something a little bit different. We've got 3 bourbons to taste. The 3 in front of me are Henry McKenna. This is the Sour Mash Bourbon. We've got an Evan Williams 1783. Again, small batch sour mash, and an Ezra Brooks, and that is a bourbon sour mash. So we threw down the challenge, and we wanted to talk about blind taste testing bourbons under $20 a bottle. So a lot of what we've spoken about in past episodes have been, mid-range to probably on the little higher end, not exclusive, but the higher end. Bourbons, and we want to throw out the challenge of, can you find a good bourbon bottom shelf? Can you find one under 20? So these are all ringing in between $13 and $17. I think expectations are these are going to taste terrible.
Yes.
I'm
also noticing some consistency of sour.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what did we learn about sour as we were exploring?
Yeah, so sour mash is kind of similar to sourdough, where you take the leftover mash from a good bourbon and recycle it, reuse it, blend it again, and use it as a starter for the next mash.
Okay.
These are all ringing in similar mash bills. And as we start to do some research on them, there's a possibility these are all the same bourbon.
Really? I love it.
The mash bill is really close to each other.
It's tweaked a little.
Yeah. They're all coming from the same area in Kentucky. And from a little research we were able to dig up on these, and I think mostly because under $20 a bottle doesn't get a whole lot of attention or marketing budget.
Yeah.
So it's possible that these are coming from the same mash, which is, hey, we've just produced a ton of great bourbon. What do we do with all of this? Because the hogs have already been fed, and there's no.
Is this the hot dog of the bourbon world?
This might
what
be.
can we assemble with this?
It's the Oscar Mayer.
This is the hot dog in the bourbon world. I love it.
That is a good
analogy. I love it. But expectations are these are not going to be our best tasting bourbons, but what better way to do it than blind taste test? So in front of each of us, we have 3 glasses, and they're marked ABC, and they correspond to the ABC bottles, which we don't know which one is A, which one is B, and which one is C. And our lovely hostess came and displayed them and shell game moved them around so we wouldn't know which is which. So we're gonna dive in here, and we'll come back to which one is the Henry McKenna and which one's the Evan Williams 1783 and which one is the Ezra Brooks once we realize which ones they are. So our first taste is going to be from glass A.
Okay.
And Alton, if you'll keep score.
So real quick before you guys dive in, I think we should also do, well, I was going to say a blind guess. So guess all 3 and see who gets the most right.
Okay.
But I don't know if...
Yeah.
Well, it's
just completely random.
Okay.
I'll fill my card in now.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's just go.
So let's try grab glass A. So we've labeled all of our glasses A, B, and C.
Okay. So what are you smelling? Guys smelling anything?
Just alcohol.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely get the alcohol.
No flavors. Just alcohol.
This one, I'm getting something. I'm getting either we getting any cinnamon in there?
I was going to say there's some kind of spice sitting in there.
Yeah. I'm not getting like an oak, so I'm not getting like a smoky on the nose. Just a little bit of spice, cinnamon maybe.
There's a lot of spice on the taste. So yeah,
Okay.
there's.
It reminds me of what they rub on your arm before they take your blood.
Yeah, it definitely has a lingering spice that actually picks up. I'm getting like more intense as it finishes.
Straight up the nostrils.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Feeling that going all the way down.
But how would you describe the taste?
It's funny because
Bad.
no, it's funny because
More words.
there's like a little
Really?
there's a little bit of a burn on my tongue, which is not going away, which is almost like not enabling me to actually taste it.
Yeah. You're sweating.
I know, right? Doesn't take much, believe me.
It does have I don't know. It's got a smooth feel to it. I don't know how to describe it, but it feels pretty smooth on my tongue. It does have that it's classic bourbon spice burn, the rye. But it's kind of characterless as far as being able to pick out something that's like a honey or vanilla or oak.
Yep.
Not getting a whole lot.
So I get like a sharp spice up front,
Okay.
a really quick finish, and then kind of a watery disappearance.
All right.
So I'm
Which
thinking
one?
that I'm guessing this probably has some rye, higher rye of the three.
Okay.
But I'm not a fan right now.
What's your guess?
Right now, I would guess, having looked at, I think we looked at the mash bills earlier. I'm going to go. This is Henry McKenna.
Okay. I'll put my name on Ezra.
So I'm going with my eye. I'm going to say 1783.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
So that's glass A.
That's Class A.
Pick up glass B. So glass B on the nose. What do you get? What are you guys getting? Anything? Back to just straight
I'm
up the nostril alcohol.
So I'm getting something a little sweeter here. So I'm actually almost like a honey smell.
Okay.
I was going to say, my initial thought was brown sugar, but hitting it a couple more times, I'm going to say more like a maple syrup. It is very sweet, though. It is.
Maple syrup, I think it's a good call.
That is a good call.
Yep. All right, what do you get for a taste? First taste.
It is smooth. I'm trying to think what flavors I'm getting. This is a much smoother than the first one.
Yeah, I get no burn from this at all.
Mm-mm.
It's warm. It's definitely warm.
It's really smooth.
It's super smooth. Like yeah.
Yeah, this is
I think even on ice, this one would be good.
This is really smooth.
Finish it in too long. I mean, it was too short, too long. It's just kind of there. It's a little oily on the finish.
That's actually a really good way to describe it.
Huh.
Yeah.
Now these mash bills are all coming in around the same. We're looking in the mid to high 70s. We got a 75 and a 78 and a 75. The ryes on these are 10 to 13, and the malted barleys are all 12s. So malted barley, that's probably the highest malted barley we've had too, and that's going to give you kind of a nutty bread bake, wheat taste to it.
Yeah.
So it's going to feel a little bit. It may trick your tongue to feel a little thicker.
Yeah.
Too.
I'm gonna go McKenna. For me, this is a McKenna.
Yeah.
Surprise.
I'll
Surprise if somebody gets these all right.
Snicker.
The Snicker. Yeah. I got a whole bowl of those sitting in front of me.
There you go. That's where the prize is coming from.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you guessing?
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess McKenna too, on this one.
I'm saying this is Ezra.
Okay.
All right. Number 3, letter C.
On to letter C.
All right.
Cheers, by the way.
Cheers. Miss you, Dave.
Yep.
Miss you, Dave. Kinda.
Okay.
It felt like the right thing to say.
Do you think he's mad that we were at the beach house and I know that they couldn't come, but
when are we going? When are we going back? Because I think there's another date, right?
Not yet.
Okay.
No. All right. So on the nose, not good. It's not a good nose.
I'm not getting anything.
No, I'm getting like dumpster.
Okay, you guys are crude.
I want more. It's gotta stand up.
Here's the thing. Like, I'm not good at yet. I'm getting something, but I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has an aroma to it.
I'm gonna go with the honey again. I'm just hung up on honey today, but it does. I think there's a little sweetness to it.
I'm getting closer to the alcohol smell of one, but it does have some underlying sweetness there. There's something there that is throwing it different.
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm not liking that one at all. Nope.
I can't see myself buying it again.
I don't think it's not definitely not my favorite of the three.
No, my eyes are still watering, and I'm still not liking it. And if that's my bottle.
Here, I thought you were crying because Dave wasn't here.
Oh yeah, poor Dave.
Yeah.
So I brought the Ezra Brooks out of this. If that C is Ezra Brooks,
it stays.
It's either staying here or going in your grass skirt. So.
Well, yeah, you might as well put in all the dead shit in my front yard right now.
This might be a good cooking bourbon. Like all three of these could
there
be.
You go.
At the end of the day,
that's actually true. So you might want to take that home with you, Elton.
If you can mask it with barbecue sauce.
Right.
By the way, did you guys finish what we left up at the beach? Because I did leave stuff up at the beach.
You did leave. We left.
We had a little bit.
We had a little bit. What?
Yep.
The Angel's Envy? Or is that... What did you leave?
You left the Woodford.
Yeah, we left the...
And the Angel's Envy.
And the Angel's Envy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't leave it up there, did you?
We locked it.
It's locked up.
It's locked up for the next trip.
That.
Thanksgiving. Yep. He's looking forward to Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yep.
That doesn't come out till we're there.
That's fair.
Don't make me show up for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I think on this on C,
just say no, Derek.
No, I'm not a fan. It's not my favorite so far.
Okay.
It's just got a weird taste. I don't know how you describe it, but
so
it's not working.
Okay, so I think this is the Ezra Brooks. Did we write that down yet?
Yep.
All right. Which one do you think it is, Derek?
I'm gonna have to default to. It's my last one, which is what, the 1793.
Yep.
Yeah.
1783. I think the same thing. Yeah,
okay. I wouldn't give it the extra 10 years.
Yeah. It doesn't get any better.
Yeah.
All right.
But that being said, these all being under 20.
Yeah.
Not awful. I think if you were a mixer, like I don't think that any of these get served neat. I think if you're gonna cut it with a Coke, throw some ginger ale in it. If you're gonna make an old fashioned,
that's
maybe.
Fair. I still wouldn't take C.
I wouldn't take C. Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm just saying.
Right.
Maybe if I had an open wound and I needed to treat it.
Hey, that's a good idea.
I love it.
Never waste anything.
Exactly.
Also takes me back to the early days.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't waste anything. So are we going to reveal, or are we waiting?
Well, tell me about the olden days. Tell me about So think about when we were all, just getting married. Elton, you're pushing 50. Kurt, you're pulling 50.
Thanks, Derek.
I'm right on that tug of war flag in the middle.
Yeah, I'm dragging all you asses along.
Think about when we all started out. Right out of school, first jobs, recent marriage, whatever that milestone was.
First house.
Think about how would you go into the ABC or the package store, wherever you're.
First of all, we had to check the envelopes, right? We all did the envelope method. You get paid, you cash part of it, and you put it in. I don't
recall having an alcohol envelope, but that would have been a great idea.
That was in our entertainment. Clearly, entertainment.
That's true.
Envelope.
That's entertainment. That's right.
Natalie and I certainly did that. And by the way, happy anniversary to my lovely bride, Natalie.
Oh,
happy anniversary to you.
22 tonight, and she gave me this was my gift. I'm not sure if it was a gift to me or to her, but she said, "Go have fun with your Bourbon Boys."
God bless her heart.
Yes,
that's fantastic. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I would toast to you, but I'm holding this glass for a swill.
Exactly.
We'll break something else open before you guys go tonight.
But yeah, we absolutely, the money in the envelope, and if we chose to buy drinks, beer, liquor, whatever, like I said, it was in the entertainment envelope, and there was a finite amount of money there. When it was gone, it was gone.
Listen, we bought our first house. We had to buy a new car because our old one crapped out. I had just gotten a new job at Harley, and we had just had our daughter.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And Liz decided, well, not Liz. We decided Liz was going to stay home. Yeah. I was making $32,000 a year.
Wow, you're rolling in it.
Yeah.
Rolling
Jack, it. Dude, yeah. What I could do with 32?
That is not the song I was singing back then. It was stressful, man.
Do you guys ever, to that point, do you ever think today, do you guys ever have the conversation like in the car, you're like, man, imagine when we just got married, just had a house, just had a kid, just started a job, had to buy a new car. If you had the money that you make now, would it be easier? Would it be harder? I mean, think about like when you started out, and like you said, the envelopes. Every decision you made was based on, do I have the cash behind it to go and do this? Plus student loans, plus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what are some of the things that you've taken from that you still do today? Because those are formidable habits.
Well, I guess for me, Liz always controlled the money, and she still does.
Okay.
We'd be poor if
if it was left to you.
We would not be living here if I was controlling the money.
Natalie does as well. We would not have electricity or running water.
That's right. Exactly right. And I always tell her that because she gets hung up. She's like, because she's been, home with Elise since Elise was a kid. And she always gets hung up on this thing of like not contributing financially. And I keep reminding her, I'm like, listen,
that's a big
you have been running this place for the last 20 years. I'm like, that is a huge job.
And household management.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I give her full credit for it because I was working and that was, my part of the deal. But you can make all the money in the world, but if you don't manage it well, it doesn't go anywhere for you.
I was just going to say that is a really good insight, which is it takes as much effort to manage the output as it does to create the input.
Yeah.
And when they're out of balance, bad things can happen.
Yeah, and I was a spender, she wasn't, so that made it even more stressful. Probably more so for her than me, but we had envelopes.
Yeah.
I remember we had envelopes, and I'd always be like, damn, we got like $2,000 in the house. And she's like, yes, and it's all spent. Like, how can that be?
It's all allocated.
How can that be? But I mean, we're still kind of, we run on a tight budget. Like, she tracks it on spreadsheets, so we don't have the envelopes anymore, but she manages all on that day too, we didn't have online baking and all of that either.
Right.
But, no, I give her all the credit, man, and we would not be where we're at if it weren't for her.
That's awesome. Alton, what about you? Any habits that you and Natalie still do 22 years later that what you kind of established and either as survival or just as this is who we are and how we roll?
It's funny. I never thought about that until you kind of posed a question that way. But you guys have been out to dinner with us, and how many times do Natalie and I split an entree?
Always.
Exactly. It's like, it's not like I never, thought about it as a conscious
mystery
carryover.
Revealed.
But that was it. We,
it's brilliant.
Hey, we can each have an extra drink if we split dinner.
It's brilliant.
Okay.
You done with that?
Deal.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I guess
exactly.
I guess that's something we've just continued to do. Neither of us are, big eaters, big foodies, so it's easy. But I think that's just carryover, I guess.
That is brilliant.
Yeah. So you and Deb?
Similar. We talk about food and drink, and we very rarely have alcohol when we go out to dinner. It's mostly because it's one of those things where I'm very frugal. I want to know the price of everything. I want to determine its value. How many hours do I have to work to have that one drink?
Oh my God, it's a good thing you and Liz aren't married to each other.
You'd be rich.
Or bored.
Rich and bored.
Right, exactly.
But it's something, when we went out to dinner at the beach house and had, a round of bourbon, I would never have ordered a round of bourbon, outside of being with you guys.
Really?
Yeah, because I would look at the pour and I would say, well, that's a half a bottle, or in the case of tonight's, that's one bottle.
That's one bottle.
It's just, to me, I look at it as, am I getting a value in everything?
Yeah.
And I think it's unfair, but that's kind of one of those behaviors where we didn't go out to dinner.
Yeah.
And if we did go out to dinner, we definitely were not ordering alcohol because it's always that mystery, never priced on the menu, and it just shows up and you go, oh my God, if I knew it was $18.
Yeah.
I don't think I got
but
an
listen,
$18 experience.
But here's the opposite side of that, right? So you and Deb have a great story, right? And we've all been in that place of like getting started, and it's like, at what point do you say, screw it, I don't care if it's $18? We can all afford that.
Apparently not yet.
We can.
Well,
okay. No, I think you're right.
I'm challenging you on that, though. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm trying to figure out.
No, I think you're right. We've had those conversations, and there was something that jumped out at me. I was reading many years ago Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week, and there was this statement he put in there. He said, "Listen, I gotta give myself like he was nickel and diming everything, every decision, and he just realized I just can't operate from that. I can afford to not make decisions on anything that has an impact of less than $500. Like he put a threshold, and we've recently done that, and it's $100, and we'd say to each other, we've made worse decisions with an extra zero at the end. It's $100. Now, us 30 years ago, that $100, we're making that work.
Oh my God, yeah, totally.
But now, to your point of the relax, $100 is not going to make or break you. This week, this month, this year. And you're not doing that, making that decision at such a clip where it's adding up tremendously. But it does give you a little bit of that breathing space to say, give yourself some tolerance or a threshold to say anything below this price, don't even think about it. Just make the decision based on instinct, how you're feeling. Don't overthink it.
But I think, I look back to even before Liz and I had our daughter, and there was a restaurant in Milwaukee at that time. The restaurant scene wasn't as big as it is today, but there was a place called Sanford's, and it was like one of the top restaurants in Milwaukee at that time. And we would go there once a year, and dinner was like $120.
Dang.
And we were like, we knew that going in, but still we're like, okay, this was like really special.
Right.
But think about that today.
Yeah.
Right. If you go to 131 Main, or you go you blow $100 on dinner, and you think, that was, it's kind of like the norm.
I still flinch.
I know.
I've got a cringing on that.
Okay.
No, but
then I guess Liz and I are just not the norm.
No, but you're absolutely right. At what point?
The splurging, the idea of splurging and enjoying. That's the whole point.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, we've all worked hard to get where we're at.
Absolutely.
So it's like, I can't, and this is what we talk about all the time. And we're going on this trip, and I'm like, we're not going to wear a watch, and 2, we're not going to think about what we spend.
Nice.
We're just going to go and have a good time.
Because I imagine, like, think about your trip coming up. If you're like, we're not going to worry about, we're gonna look at the left side of the menu. We're not going to look at the right side. Right, left side of the menu is.
Got it.
What do you want? What do you feel like?
I'm like, what's on the right side? Because I might like something there.
The right column.
But that's where dessert is.
That's where the drinks are, on the right side.
Exactly. That's why he's telling me I can't look there.
But I imagine if you ran that same trip twice, and one you're looking at everything you're spending, and then you don't, how off are you going to be? A couple $100?
Not that much.
Right? Like you honestly can't just spend that much by mistake, or just by emotion. So I think it's a good call. Let's just say this is the trip that I don't want to worry about it. I want to actually enjoy the trip.
I mean, listen, I know that there's probably a lot of people listening that can relate to this, but I mean, there's a balance between being responsible and living at the same time.
Yep. Yeah, I think if you, what I'm finding is I think we were all probably, I speaking for myself, I think we were thrust into this position where you had to figure it out. You had to learn.
Yeah.
And I don't remember there being much offered in terms of understanding how to budget and manage and spend and discern between different expenses, or understanding insurance, or should I buy a car, should I lease a car, whatever.
Right.
So I think we've all learned and definitely have paid what some people call the stupid tax, because you've made these decisions. And you're like, I learned after that was not the best way of doing it. But I hope that our kids get a chance to learn from what we've learned. And I wouldn't say mistakes, because they're not all. I think mistake is when you'd want to go back and change it. I think they're things we've learned.
Yeah.
Not so that they can avoid the struggle, because I think the struggle
they need to experience that.
Totally. Yeah. We've carried that forward 22 years.
Yeah. 23
years and 30 years. Like that's something I think has value that's lasted that long with us. That's probably continued the right behaviors and understanding where it's going.
Totally agree.
All right, I think we've waited long enough to find out what's under the glass.
A, B, and C.
A, B, and C.
Okay, so for A, what did each of us say?
A, Kurt, you said Evan Williams. Derek said Ezra Brooks, and I said Henry McKenna.
Okay, and A is 1783. Wow. The Evan Williams.
No, I said 1783 for A.
Yeah, you did.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Did I say that wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, you did say.
Okay, just checking.
Yep. K-E-W.
This one here, this Evan Williams 1783, it has a mash bill of 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12% malted barley. It's an 86 proof, and this is it's bottled. It's actually bottled at. You have the info on this one, right? Kurt does.
Kurtron.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bottled in Evan Williams, but we think it's sourced from other distilleries.
Yeah, the Heaven Hill Distillery.
Yeah, which pops up. It's located in Bardstown, Kentucky, which is the same town that all three of these under 20s came from.
So it talks about, let me go through the nose taste and finish real quick what it tells us. I think we were probably all wrong. The nose is fruity honey, caramel. I think or cornmeal. Actually, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, that makes sense in the sour mash.
Taste, watery caramel. Did you say it tasted watery after?
Yep. Yes.
Vanilla, grits, citric acid, and sugar. The finish on this one is short, which I think you said, Elton.
Yep.
Right? Because you said it had a hit in the beginning, and then it kind of faded for you pretty quick.
Yep, a little watery.
And then it's a citric acid, cornmeal, vanilla, and peanut, which is kind of interesting. I've never seen peanut as a descriptor for
which one?
For finish.
And this is A.
Mm-hmm. Evan Williams.
And B, you said had an oily finish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I could buy if it was peanut, but I'm not getting any peanut.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. I mean,
it
definitely has a really powerful. It has a hit in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got no peanut. No. Okay.
All right.
So
B. B is Henry McKenna, and this is an 80 proof. So it's got, you had, I think, Elton, you'd said this has less bite, it's a smoother feel. So that's the lower of proof. It could also be that it's cut with water, that they've lowered the proof on that one and stretched the leftovers. That could be like the wiener dog of the hot dog, where how many more hot dog shaped flavored things can we get out of this one batch of meat?
I actually like this one. Out of the three, that's the one that I like the best.
I think you're right. I think this one popped a little bit higher.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, they're all essentially within 1% or 2% of each other's mash bill of corn, rye, and barley.
Right. Yep.
They're all in Bardstown. It's possible that where this is a sour mash, meaning, as a reminder, using the remnant mash to start the next one, it's possible that all these guys are using the same barrels and then filtering it differently, bottling it in their own terms in their own distillery,
and slapping a new label on it.
Yeah. Yep. But I think you're right. I think we all three of us agree that this was a better taste.
Yeah.
Than
Henry McKenna
others.
was the best taste of the three, so that means that C is
Ezra Brooks.
Ezra Brooks,
that's a 90 proof.
Yep. Which is interesting.
Yes, it is.
It was created, and here's a little. This makes a lot more sense now. The brand was created by Frank Silverman in 1957, and then went out of business in the 1970s. So I think I know why. Then
They're generous to not say 1970.
I was just going to say some brands are meant to stay dead.
Exactly. And then in 93, Luxco purchased the brand and I guess revived it and brought it back. And now they it's a blended sour mash, and then they bottle it in St. Louis. Or with the Lux Road Distillers, I'm sorry, not in St. Louis. But the interesting thing with Ezra is it gets a charcoal filtering before bottling. So I don't know if that gives it the distinct taste that we don't like, or if that improves upon the taste that would normally be there, which is hard to believe. So
I'll try it again.
Yeah. Charcoal filtering.
You go for that, Derek.
Yeah, it's still a pretty harsh taste.
Yeah.
So which is surprising with it. It's 78% corn. I would have not thought that you could have made it that sharp with that high of a...
What was the rye on it? Like 12? Yeah.
I just wouldn't have saw that. So it must be the spices, but still not a fan.
Nope. Oh, that was fun.
You're not a fan. We got it.
So one more time.
Yeah. So it brings us to last call.
Last call.
Last call scenario is you've moved into your new house. You've got a new job, just starting out. You're back from...
You're in the 20 range.
You're in your 20s. You're back from your honeymoon. You're just about to meet the neighbors. You have the neighbors over for a game of up and down the river. Which of these bourbons, and I know the answer, but I think just in keeping with the format...
Should we all say it at the same time?
With the format of last call, which one are you breaking out? Alton?
I'm going Henry McKenna.
Yeah.
It's the only one stomachable.
Stomachable. Is that even a word?
and stomachable straight. I mean, we had
True.
these. We had these neat.
True.
Yeah.
So neat and straight.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, because and we always talk about the appearance and the presentation. I would say of the three bottles, it's probably the least interesting of the three from a shelf presence.
It looks like a wine bottle.
Yeah.
Yep. Because this is what Ezra sounds like when you uncork it.
There is a cork.
Yeah. Can you even hear the other two?
And the other two are... They're twist offs. So
doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's bad.
You might want to not bring it out and put it on the table, but
So
Kurt, what about you?
I would have to go with Henry McKenna as well, purely on taste.
Yep.
Aside from that, I like the 1783 bottle. I think the bottle is super cool. It's very simple, very traditional. It's got a really old-fashioned kind of look to it. But,
kind of has like a cognac bottle shape to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit. But yeah, Henry McKenna.
You do?
I'm thinking back in our 20s when we were starting out, I don't think we're drinking anything this hard, this straight. So I'm going to go for maybe the cheapest, which I think was the Ezra Brooks. Coming in at a whopping maybe $13, $14.
Yep.
And I'm going to cut this thing with Coke all night long. So I think we're mixing it with something.
Okay.
Good call.
We're going to stretch it. So I'm going to take a 95-cent 2-liter of Coke, and I'm going to make this a $15 night that people will remember for a long time.
Good work. Listen, they might all taste good over a little bit of ice, a little bit of water mixed in. But from a pure taste, I got to go with McKenna.
I agree.
And they may taste great to a 20-year-old that hasn't tasted some of the really good bourbon that we know. So if this is your intro to bourbon, they may all taste the same. They all may taste like a dumpster.
I'd love to hear if anybody's tried these as a mixer or use these as a mixer. That'd be awesome to understand because that's
so let us know, right? Let us know.
Yeah, I think it's a good call. The when you think back to how you make these things stretch, when we talked about stretching dinner or stretching a bill. It does make you think back to how did you entertain and did you stretch everything you could out of these things? And I think this is a good example of these are all under $20. They're in the $13 to $17 range at the North Carolina ABC stores.
Yep.
Just before you get to that, this was a fun night just to do this. So if there's guys who get together and drink bourbon, try this. This was pretty damn fun. Okay, you can only spend X dollars, and it's blind. Let's figure out. And
I was surprised too when I went and picked up the Henry McKenna. There are even cheaper. You could do an under 10.
You can. There's a $9.95. I can't remember what it's called.
It was like a $7 one.
Oh my god. Let's do that.
We'll have to wait till a later episode. Maybe that's a.
And these are all 750s, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So we didn't. These aren't mini bottles.
That's a really good point. No, because you visually can't see.
Yep.
These are full size bourbon bottles.
Yep.
And they're from Kentucky. They meet all the standards of bourbon. Yep. And just to show you that there's just a massive range of detail, attention, and craftsmanship that goes into making a bottle. These were all a little bit hard to find the information on, and I think because a lot of people aren't Googling.
It's not in the budget. we don't have a web page in the budget.
Nope. But this was fun.
Yeah.
This was fun.
Yeah,
and maybe we'll get to a sub 10 someday, but not right away.
Yeah.
I think we need to get back to some good stuff.
That would be college days.
Oh, I love it. Well, if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe to our series and hit the notification button so you'll get updates when we do, go after that sub 10. Yeah. And leave us a note. Give us some feedback. We want to make sure that this is working for you. And if you want to learn more about tonight's bourbon, visit our site, bourbonon.com, where you can also order Bourbon Boys merchandise. There's some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, they do. Like your hat.
Yeah, I like
I'm
the
wearing a hat tonight. Yes. Well, gentlemen, minus Krat. Wish you could be here, Dave. Looks like we're at the end of this episode. Really enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun.
Ton of fun.
I loved it.
I'm going to make sure I grab the B glass.
That's
here.
right. Grab the B.
Gentlemen, bourbon on.
Bourbon on.